Hey everyone! Today I am getting right on top of things and we're just going to jump right into it. And we are doing a set review, as you can probably tell by the title of this video, for the new supplemental set coming out in a few weeks, Battlebond. So we're going to jump into this. This is going to be a little bit different from my Dominaria set review, which, while that was mostly focused as limited, I am be focusing more on EDH for this video. Or I did comment on EDH on the other one, but I feel Battlebond, even though it is a set made for limited, is going to be much more impactful, unless it's a limited format, which people might play a thing or two unless they happen to know someone who gets a box or whatever, which I'd hope to get, but I don't think I'll be able to. But I'm gonna be talking about Commander, and the thing is, I'm only talking about the new cards, not the reprints, because it's talking about the new cards. There are notable reprints for Commander, but I'm not gonna be talking about them because I want to finish this in a video and not 4. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. First we got a the first air part of these will be all the new partner with cards. Partner with is an expansion onto partner, which came out in C16, which originally just meant if you have 2 commanders of partner, you can have 2 of them as your commander. Partner with means it has a little different meanings. So it'll be partner with another card. Like this one says partner with Rowan Kenrith. Which means that for the old region of partner is that you can have 2 commanders if both of the cards of partner are your commander. They also still have to be a legendary creature or say that they can be a commander like this one. There are some non-legendary partner cards, but what they also mean is when you cast it, target player, so usually it's you or your teammate. In EDH will most likely just be you. Although if you're playing arch enemy, commander or team commander, which are both fun formats to play, it might also apply to your team. But you just search your library and put the other card into your hand. Although if they're playing as your commanders, it'll probably be in command zone and you can ignore that part of it. But for outside of that, if you have 2 partner with cards in your library, if you draw 1 and cast 1, you get to still get to tutor for the other one and put it into your hand and cast it later. So that's how those ones that can't for commander are still relevant. So first up, we're gonna talk about 2 partner planeswalkers. And I'll be reviewing them generally, mostly. I'll be pointing out ones that I want in my decks and decks I've done deck techs on, but also things that interest me and kind of want me to build other decks and things like that. I will rush through ones that are purely draft in mind, just aren't good in Commander, but yeah. So Will Kenrith is a 6-mana 4-loyalty planeswalker with a +2, which is until your next turn. Up to 2 target creatures each have base power and toughness 0/3 and lose all abilities. Honestly, having 2 people just neuter 2 creatures every turn is very, very useful in Commander. There's a lot of commanders that can be just devastated by this. Oops. There we go. They can just be devastated by this ability, because you just keep redoing it every turn. You get to neutralize big threats and things like that. Its -2 is target player draws 2 cards. Until your next turn, instant sorceries and planeswalker spells that player casts cost 2 less to cast. So it makes your spells cheaper and is good card evangelistic. And then target -8, which is, since if it is your commander, you're much more likely to get to your ultimate at some point because you can recast it. A lot of times when evaluating planeswalkers, you just shouldn't look at their ultimate. But this one you might want to, which is when target player gets an emblem, whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. This is real interesting. We'll talk about what I think about maybe playing them as a commander when I talk about the other one. But I would be looking to play this in both probably I would look at it for its second ability maybe in Shuyun, but it doesn't really feel like it wants to be in Shuyun necessarily. And honestly, but that said, its card advantage and just the ability to ice things down makes me want Super Friends. As like, this is just like a solid blocker to put into my Super Friends deck. So I will be looking into that. And now we have what he partners with, and that is his sister, Rowan Kenwith, who is a 6-mana farm loyal planeswalker, but this time in red. So, +2, during target player's next turn, each creature that player controls attack if able. It's not that useful of an ability. Like, I guess it's cool if you have, like, the other, if you have Kenrith and are, with Will, I should say, and you're, like forcing them to attack with O3s, but that isn't super relevant. The -2, she does 3 damage to each tap creature and a target player controls. Now that's solid. I guess the idea is you do that and then they tap all their creatures and then you get to like nuke them all down. And -8, target player gets an Emerald whenever you activate an ability that isn't a mana ability, copy it. You may choose two target, You may choose new targets for the copy. Notably, that -8 applies to Planeswalker loyalty abilities. But that one is pretty specific, but the main thing about it is like Planeswalker loyalty abilities. This one I'm less excited on, but in terms of the two of them together, I could see this being an interesting kind of like play style for it's definitely a style of blue-red we really have not seen a commander for. It's all about kind of like this consistent like card advantage as well as just like wiping boards and like forcing attacks and things like that, which I haven't really given much thought into how I would build that deck, but I do find it really interesting, and it's something to look at. In terms of Rowan herself, I might put, like, if I had Will and like Super Friends, I might put Rowan in just because that gives both of them card advantage to be able to tutor up the other, which is solid. And like, she's not bad, but she's not great. I'd say she's fine. And if you can ultimate her in like a Super Friends deck, that's just insane. But I like Will better, but she's certainly not the worst Planeswalker in the world, but she's also not the best. I mean, she's no Tybalt, so. Next up we have Regna, the Redeemer, who is a 6-mana 4/4 flying angel. At the beginning of your turn, if your team gained life this turn, create 2 1/1 white warrior creature tokens. And it teams up with the other one with Krav, we'll talk about in a moment. In terms of the gaining life each turn, making 2 warriors, I could see putting this into life gain. I mean, Abzan life gain wants abilities like this where I get to like make some like extra like bodies and stuff, and like essentially it says in that deck 6-mana 4/4 flyer. Yeah, that's like solid in Commander. Like it blocks well. And oops, stop doing that, Lily. And then gaining extra chop blockers and stuff like that is just super nice. Warriors though, which is like the other place, like, oh, it makes warrior tokens. Not so much. It's just I'm not consistently gaining life enough to like warrant doing that. I don't even know if there's a way for that deck to gain life, so yeah. Okay, next up we have Krav the Unredeemed, who is a 5-mana 3/3 demon. And you can play black, sacrifice X creatures, target player draws X cards and gains X life, and put X +1/+1 counters on Krav the Unredeemed. I could also say putting this into life gain, just because, I mean, the thing is that if you put one of them into a deck, and if the other fits into the colors, if you want to play one of them, having another one that like gives you a visual advantage and lets you tutor for that other one just is real solid, and like essentially that makes the first one that you cast like essentially kind of cantrip, but for a very specific card, which usually goes quite well with that card. So while I'm not as excited for this one in Abzan Life Gain, because I mean I do have Tymna the Weaver, which is a good enough draw engine on my own commander. Like Crav is still quite solid, especially if you can do it like in response to a board wipe and stuff. It helps protect your board and like, or not protect your board, but it gives you insurance if it is wiped and whatnot. So I'm a fan of Crav. Okay, next up we have ZENER, Eye of Wisdom. It's 5 mana for 1/4. At the beginning with partner with the next guy. At the beginning of a combat on your turn, flip a coin until you lose a flip. Whenever a player wins a coin flip, draw a card. So you kind of like it. You flip a bunch of coins. Like every combat, you have a 50% chance to draw a card. For a 5 mana 1/4, that's okay. I mean, I'm not great on that, but I do like that coin flipping's back. I really like the dice rolling mechanic and coin flipping from Unstable, and coin flipping is kind of the black border version. And then we have Okan, Eye of Chaos, who's a 5 mana 3/3. At the beginning of your combat on your turn, flip a coin until you use a flip. Note that these two abilities don't have to be their own creature flipping. It can be anyone flipping. But this one, whenever you win a coin flip, double his power and toughness until end of turn. So that's cool. There's also like some like really old like fun like coin flipping cards that you can like do to like have combos with these. So these don't really fit into any deck that I'm playing right now, but I've been looking out for an Is It commander that really like speaks to me, and like this could be a lot of fun potentially to put together. It's kind of like this like red-blue chaos type deck. Yeah, use Crack's Thumb. So yeah, that'd be interesting. Alright, next up we have Virtus the Veiled, who is a 3 mana 1/1 who allies with Grom the Great. There's no Ozra, so there's tieflings and magic now, who has Death Touch. And whenever she deals, I think it's a she, combat damage to a player, that player loses half their life rounded up. So they like lose a lot of damage, and they like this one like just deals a lot of damage. Like if you make this unblockable, you can just like start willing their health. That said, her alone, that's not really an ability I want to be using. It's like the Quintus Spike ability, which is like a card that has the same like line of text. I'm not super excited about her on her own. But her other ability is Gorm the Great, who is a 4 mana 2/7 with Vigilance. And Gorm the Great must be blocked if able, and Gorm must be blocked by 2 or more creatures if able. And so essentially it kind of like, the idea is with these two is that you attack off Gorm, they have to block, and then the assassin gets in and deals some damage. I'm not super stoked by these two. It's a giant warrior, but he doesn't really fit into my warrior deck, so I'm not looking to put them into that. That said, I could see maybe an Abzan life gain, because he is a 4 mana 2/7 with relevant text and helps my other stuff get in. And like I often will have like Doran type effects, and forcing them to block a 7/7 is like pretty good. But yeah, I'm not high on these two. And for Golgari commanders, there's so much cooler things you can do. Granted, I am glad that they finally have there's a Golgari option that isn't like a graveyard deck, so that's cool at least, but this just doesn't excite me. Okay, next up we have the Boros commanders, which is, first up we have Corvath Brightflame, who is a 3/4 dragon, who with flying and haste, and it gives knights your team controls flying and haste. So that's cool. So it's like he takes up all your knights and makes them flying. Which would be cool. Like you put him to a knight deck, but like knights aren't really in red, which is like weird. Like on his own, that's not really something I'm looking to put into my decks. The other side we have Sylvia Brightspear, who is a 3 mana 2/2 with double strike and partners with the last one, and gives dragons you control game controls double strike. So like, my dragon deck is Jund, so she doesn't fit into there, but obviously she fits into dragon decks. But them together is like this weird like combo knight dragon tribal, which I don't know how you would build it, but I mean it seems cool. Like I like the idea of like not singular tribal decks like that you're trying to do with dragons and knights and put them all together and have some like cool combined tribal stuff. I don't know if it's something I'd be interested in building. I mean, that said, it is a Boros commander pair that does not overcome any of the disadvantages of Boros. Like, even if you want to build this dragon knight like combo deck, there's probably better Boros like combat commanders you should be using. So I'm not huge on them. Yeah. Not much else to say. Alright, next up we have Purr, Imaginative Rascal, who's 2 in green, and it partners with Toothy Imaginary Friend. And if one or more counters would be put onto a permanent your team controls, put that many +1 of each of those kind of counters on those permanents instead. So this guy goes in so much stuff. Like, you have a +1/+1 counter deck. This is going right into my Super Friends deck because it like increases the amount of loyalty counters your Planeswalkers gets. Like, if the power of Atraxa tells you anything, the ability to manipulate counters on objects is extremely powerful. And Purr just like being able to increase that makes it really, really neat. As a potential thing. And if we have its partner, which is Toothy Imaginary Friend, which is whenever you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on Toothy Imaginary Friend. Whenever Toothy leaves the battlefield, draw a card for each +1/+1 counter on it. So obviously with Purr, like, you get extra +1 counters. And this one is whenever it leaves the battlefield. It's not whenever not when it dies or is put back to the command zone. It's whenever it leaves the battlefield. So if you blink this, you get a bunch of value. Also, if you blink it and it comes back to battlefield, it puts that much counters on top of it before it comes back to the battlefield. The trigger for gaining cards is still on the stack. You draw that many cards and you put those counters back on. Put on this with like a Deadeye Navigator, you like so much value. Honestly, if I wasn't already kind of like onto like building the my Cynic Elves deck, I would be totally down for building like a Purr Toothy deck, which sounds really cool. That said, like, if I can find, like, I could see putting Toothy into a lot of decks. Like, Toothy on its own is a lot of good value. So yeah, no, I like Toothy. Toothy's a fun guy. And Purr is just great. These two are probably 2 of my favorite commanders that are here. Wait, now we're onto the uncommon cycle of partner ones. These ones can't be your commander, but they can be put onto like different. They can be in the 99, and they tutor for each other still. So first up, we got Blaring Recruiter, which is a 4-mana 2/2. Which you can just pay 2 and a white and create a 1/1 white warrior token. And it's also a warrior itself. I mean, this is a solid card that, like, I'd probably put into warriors, because warriors does have the problem of, like, late game mana sinks, and this helps with that mana sink. So, yeah. Okay, and now we see the beginning of everything I hate about everything. And that is the fact that I built my warrior deck, just like last month, to be Naya. And all of a sudden, oh look, all of these wonderful black warriors in this deck. And I'm like, I can't run any of these, and I'm kind of angry. So, and there's also a new like 5-color warrior commander, and you know how I like about putting too many colors in my decks, and I'm very tempted to upgrade my Naya deck, but I'm trying to remain disciplined and not do that. But we'll see how long I last. Obviously, if you're playing like the Mardu version of Warriors, which definitely has support from like Consblock and whatnot, and not Naya, you want this. You can also play like blueless Warriors, where you're playing like Saskia, even though she's not a warrior, she's a soldier. Although her story really makes her sound more like a warrior than a soldier, honestly. But oh well. Or the new 5-color one, which we'll get to it later. But Blaring Recruiter himself is a 4-mana 2/2. When Blaring Captain attacks, attacking warriors get +1/+1 until end of turn. So I mean, he's not the best warrior in the world, but I mean, he attacks as a 3/3 and pumps everything up and tutors for another good warrior. So I think he's solid in a warrior deck, even if not like the most phenomenal attack effect in the world. So next up we have the bestest boy in the whole world, and that's Chakram Retriever, who is a 5-mana 2/3 2/4 elemental hound, and whenever you cast a spell during your turn, untap target creature. So I mean, himself is not the most important thing. I mean, you can do like cool, there's probably cool combo stuff you can do with him, like as part of like weird stuff, but then he goes with Chakram Slinger, so you get to pay fetch with your imaginary dog, which is 5-mana 2/4, which is red Tappet. It deals 2 damage to target player or planeswalker, and also is a warrior. This I am going to be trying, probably putting into Naya Warriors, even if like I can't put the other half into him, because I mean, like, just tap deal 2, like a 2-mana pinger, a 2 damage pinger is like real solid. Like, it takes out a lot of threats, and like just the threat of activation is really good. But these two together, if you can play these two together, like, that's real solid. Like, it kind of turns oh, I guess it isn't a pinger, it just deals 2 damage to player. That said, these two I might experiment putting into what's that deck? Shuyun, because like that one's I'm trying to like cast a bunch of cantrips and stuff and be able to just like add on like pounding down like stuff and everything. But yeah, and also just like look at these two. These two are the best. Oh my goodness, they're so adorable. I love them. You should play it on flavor grounds alone. So yeah. Okay, next up we have Soulblade Corruptor, which is 5-mana 3/3 with Death Touch. I mean, I like Death Touchers in EDH. Whenever a creature with +1/+1 counter attacks one of your opponents, that creature gains Death Touch till end of turn. I don't know. It's fine. Like, it's like a worse kind of like Murek Nightblade. I guess not strictly worse, because like you want like your opponents attacking your opponents and getting Death Touch and stuff, but it's like, I don't know. It's nothing new. Like, we've gone with your Murek Nightblade, but it's one that unless you're getting the other side of it too, it's just overcosted for what it gives you. And then the other side is Soulblade Renewer, which is a 5-mana 2/2. When it enters battlefield, support 2, which is one mechanics of the set and comes from with the Gatewatch, which says put +2/+1 counters on each of up to 2 other target creatures. These two aren't good. They just don't do enough for EDH. So yeah, not a fan. Okay, next up is Impetuous Prodigy, which is a 3-mana 0/4, partnered with Proud Manure. It is a warrior, and whenever it attacks, it gains +X/+O until end of turn, where X is the greatest power among tapped creatures your opponent control. Okay, so like if you like tap down their Ulamog, like if it attacks as a 10/4, but I mean, it does require setup, and it requires your opponents to have a board state, and it is a 3-mana 0/4 that is essentially a vanilla creature, so I'm not huge on that. And then next up we have Proud Mentor, which is like, that's cool, like Dad and Son pair. It was a 3-mana 1/1 who can white tap a creature. Tappers just aren't great in EDH, so I'm not huge on this Dad and Son combo. Yeah, not into it. Next up is Leigh Weaver, which is a 4-mana 2/2 that partners with Lore Weaver and taps to untap 2 lands. I don't mind this. There's lots of cool things you can do with like untapping lands and untapping 2 lands. And Lore Weaver I know is good. So I don't mind Leigh Weaver. You do want to be like in a deck where you're like utilizing like either you're playing bounce lands that like to untap allow you to like untap a lot of mana, or utility lands like the Ixalan flip lands and things like that. Because like obviously otherwise you're just like better off like playing like Skyshroud Claim, which is getting reprinted in the set. Just get the 2 mana that you're getting from Leigh Weaver in stuff. I would play this in Violet Smasher Ramp, if the other one worked better in that deck. And we have another one is Leigh Weaver, which is a 4 mana 2/2, which you can pay 7 mana to draw 2 cards. Which, I mean, in EDH you tend to get a lot of mana, and this thing would seem to be great in Violet Smasher Ramp, but it's strictly worse than Thrasios. Okay, it's not strictly worse, but it's worse than Thrasios. Sure, you get a mana discount on the total number of cards you're drawing over Thrasios, but Thrasios doesn't require color mana. It gives you the Scry. It's also my commander. It's also only 2 mana rather than 4. So I think any deck that you're like ramping and have a lot of stuff going, like you might be interested in playing this, but otherwise it's not something I'm looking to put into my decks. But there are more embarrassing cards you could put into some decks, and if you are taking advantage of the untapping like special lands, you might as well put in Leigh Weaver too, which is just a solid value card, and if you get to tutor up for free, that's just extra. That's just nice. Okay, now we're out of the partners and we're actually going to like the new cards, and we're gonna look up Arena Rector. So this is 4 mana for a 1/2 human cleric, but when it dies, you may exile it. And if you do, search your library for a planeswalker, put it on the battlefield, and shuffle your library. That's right, for 4 mana you can kill this thing and you can tutor and put directly onto the board Tybalt. A+, it's going right into Super Friends. I mean, obviously you put it into a Super Friends deck, but I mean, I could see it any deck where you have like a decent amount of planeswalkers or like a key planeswalker you want to grab. It's just like a solid card if you have things you need to tutor. I mean, obviously I'm not huge on tutors in EDH in general, but I mean, like, in reality it's like, but if like you're playing like a Super Friends list or a list where you can like take this out and like get out a Karn or a Nicol Bolas, like that's is very strong, having the tutor and cheating a mana cost. So, I mean, obviously you need some stuff to set it up, but yeah, Arena Rector is a good card if you need it. But it's pretty self-explanatory. I don't need to tell you that. Next up is Aurora Champion, and it's 3 mana, 3/2. When it attacks, if your team controls a warrior, tap target creature. This is a limited card. Don't know more about it. Okay, Breitling. This is the next version of Morphling, and it's a 3 mana 3/3 with white to gain vigilance, white to gain lifelink, white to return to your owner's hand, which is probably the most annoying ability of this, and also 1 of any color to give it +1, -1, or -1, +1 till end of turn. While as annoying this will be in limited and maybe some other formats, this is not. It's, I mean, at the end of the day, it is a French vanilla creature. Like, unless you're abusing the returning it to your hand and replaying it, returning it to your hand, replaying it, you're not doing anything crazy with this card in EDH. It just isn't high impact enough to be good in this format. So, yeah. Bring Down. Okay, so this is the first of the assist cards. And assist is essentially you can have other players, not just your teammate, help pay any of the colorless cost in it. And I love politics in EDH, and this is one of my favorite things about EDH is the fun amount of politics and stuff you get to do with it. And assist has a really neat, like, kind of like part of this, but you have to remember that you have to make sure it's a card that most of the time the costs that people are willing to assist with will probably be taking out like important threats and things like whatnot. So it's like if like you'd be like, oh, they are gonna run away with the game if they like keep that alive. and whatnot. That said, bring down, it's 3 mana and a white, 3 and a white, so you can pay 1 white if other people pay mana, and destroy target creature of power 4 or greater. This isn't good. It's sorcery speed. It's limited. You have to, like, if you don't get anyone else to help you, it's 4 mana for this, and you don't want to be doing that. So bring down is just not good enough. Just play Swords to Plowshares. It's in the same rarity slot in this set, so just run Swords to Plowshares. Dwarven Lightsmith. It's a 5 mana, it's a 6 mana, 5 and a white, with assist for 3/4. When it enters battlefield, creatures your team controls get +1/+1. This one doesn't answer a threat, so people won't want to give this to you to help you, so you're not wanting to play this. It's just an overcosted thing. I do love the art, though. That's some rad dwarf art, and I love dwarves. Also, more dwarves, so that's cool. Jubilant Mascot. It's a 3 mana 1/1. In the beginning of a combat on your turn, you may pay 4 mana, or 3 and a white, to support 2. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. It's fine. It's not great, but it's there. It's a lot of mana to be pumping into for just 2 power, and there's just better things you can be doing in EDH, so not huge on it. Play of the game. Now this is an assist card I can probably get behind. It's 6 white, assist. So you can get other people to help you, and it's exile all non-land permanents. So it's like, the thing is, like, if one person's running a game with tokens or whatever, or some weird artifact combo, and the fact that, like, people are willing to, like, come together to, like, do this, and the fact that it hits all non-land permanents and it exiles them makes it, oh, such a nice board wipe. Like, obviously, I think these decks are, this card is worse if, like, you don't want to be, like, if you have a play group that doesn't, obviously, like, read your play group, like, is your play group one that will, like, want to help you with something like this? Are you going to be the threat that people want to be stopped most of the time? Then maybe you don't run these, but as is, I would run this in most of my white decks, just for the political angle of it. Also feels nice to, like, come together to help, like, solve a threat or to solve a problem and whatnot, so yeah, I like play of the game. Next up is Readiness Sanction. It's a 4 mana sorcery, which is for each player choose friend or foe. This is another cool politic one where you can, like, these friend or foe cards, you have you have 2 modes, and for each player you get to choose one of the modes. Each friend puts +1/+1 counter on each creature they control. Each foe chooses 1 untapped creature they control, then taps the rest. This one is okay though, like, unless you are going to be doing fun stuff with the +1/+1 counters, like you're in a Traxa deck or otherwise, like, +1/+1 counter deck, maybe. Otherwise, it's not that great. I'm not, like, tapping your creatures just isn't doing that much. And the fact that they get to, like, choose 1 key to keep untapped doesn't help them much either, so it's, like, doesn't make that much better, so yeah, that's fine. Okay, next up is Sky Streamer, which is an assist card that's not good and only is for limited, so we're not gonna talk about it. Together Forever. It's a white for an enchantment, and when it enters battlefield, support 2. 1 for something, for just 1 generic, choose target creature with a counter on it. When this creature dies this turn, return that card to its owner's hand. So it, like, it gives you counters, and then it, like, helps you, like, for creatures that have counters on them, you get to, like, have, like, pseudo protection that you, like, to blink them back to your hand. I could see this maybe in some sort of, like, +1/+1 counters deck or whatever. Like, it is 2 mana enchantment, so my first thought was, like, does it go into my ZENER deck? And the answer is no, not really at all. So not huge on Together Forever, but I mean, it's fine. It's also cute. I like the cliche, like, angel loving a demon. Like, I'm down for that. But yeah, so Together Forever, it's solid. Okay, next up we're on to blue. Again, I'm not going over the reprints, I'm just going over the new cards. I'm happy to go, not do that. I'm probably divide this into 2 parts. I'm gonna finish blue, and then on next video, probably on Monday, we're going to be doing the other ones, because we did like the partners today. So we'll do the last 3 and the last one for Monday's video. So first up we got Arcane Artisan, who's a 2 in blue for an 0/3. You may human wizard. You may lay 2 in blue and tap it. Target player draws a card, then exiles a card from your hand. So kind of like a semi-loot effect. If a creature card is exiled this way, that player creates a token that's a copy of that card. When it leaves the battlefield, exile all tokens created with it at the beginning of your next end step. So it's like a looter that, like, if you want to get rid of creatures, you still get the creatures. But it also lets you cheat the creatures into play. It lets you take advantage of ETB effects still. Like, as long as you're like not wanting to like use them from the graveyard or whatever, this is very nice and lets you do really cool things. And at the base level, it's still a looter, which like sure you have to pay 3 mana for, is like still a good looter that can give you some real good value. And like, this is one way to cheat Eldrazi into play. So, and then combine this with any ability to give them haste. Oh, that's real nice. And also the fact that a lot of them, when it's like, oh, when this leaves the battlefield, like exile them immediately, but this one doesn't exile them until the end of the next end step, so you have time to deal with them, so you don't have to worry about like swinging for like cloned like Ulamog and have to deal with like them like just destroying the Arcane Artisan at instant speed, and then all of a sudden you don't get all your like Ulamog damage. So yeah. Okay, next up we have Fumble. Return creature to its owner's hand, gain control of all of Aurora's equipment attached to it, and then attach it to another creature. It's not a good card. It don't work. Don't play this. Like, it's not. It's too specific for whatchamacallit, for EDH. Game Plan. It's a 6 mana assist. Each player shuffles their hand and graveyard into the library, then draws 7 cards. Exile Game Plan. So it's Time Twister. It's Time Twister with assist that's a little bit more expensive. And it exiles itself. So, this is cool. I don't know what deck you want it in, because it's like, you have to, like, I guess the situation that you wait people to assist you with, like, you don't want to be paying 6 mana for this effect. Like, that's just a fact. Like, you're giving everyone card advantage, like, unless you're specifically paying the partner commander, which gives you mana for every card you've drawn this turn, where you want to be playing all the wheels you can. It has to be a situation where, like, oh, Joe has this threat that we need to deal with, we all need to dig for answers. Then you might be able to, like, finagle, like, getting people to help you cast this, but otherwise it is a hard, it's gonna be a hard one to spin a lot of the time. So it depends on what your play group is and how receptive they are to assist. But otherwise you're probably better off just running like Windfall and other effects like that. Although I do really like the assist mechanic. Okay. Next up is Huddle Up, which is 2 and a blue for a sorcery with assist, which is 2 target players each draw a card. This doesn't do enough. Like, you don't end up a card, but someone else does, so no. This is just like in Two-Headed Giant, yeah, it's like kind of like a divination, but this is just bad in EDH where you're not strictly on that person's team. Okay, Nimbus Champion, which is a 6 mana 4/4. Whenever it attacks, you may return target creature to its owner's hand if that creature's power is less than or equal to the number of warriors your team controls. So now they have blue warriors that care about warrior tribal, which there is also a 5-color warrior commander, which we'll talk about in the next video. Obviously if you're playing that person, yeah, that's real solid. But I mean, like, you're not going to be running a warriors deck in blue unless you're running that specific commander. But if you are, this is great. If not, you're probably not going to have critical mass of warriors. So, yeah. Next up is Out of Bounds. And this is an assist one I can get behind. It's 3 and a blue for counter target spell. Most of the time when you want to counter something, it's something that, like, the whole, like, okay, there's 2 times you usually are countering something in EDH. The first is when you are going to be, you're countering like the answer to your way to win the game. At which point this doesn't help you with that. Or you're countering something else that someone wins someone else the game. And in that case, people want to help you out with that. And this can become like a 1-mana counter spell for you, which is like great and people don't see it coming. So yeah, no, I like Out of Bounds. And yeah, so I like it as for the assist cards because it's one of those things where it's like this, for the assist, ask yourself, does this help answer a threat that other players would care about? And this one is yes, it does. Okay, we got Saltwater Stalwart, which is a 4-mana 2/4 Werfolk Warrior, which whenever deals combat to a player, that player draws a card. I'm not big on this. Like, these effects are good if you have like a Bite into Thassa or an Edric Spymaster Trest, but that's because then you could just token spam and have your creatures have it. One creature having it on itself, not good. Don't play this. Soaring Show-Off. Excuse me. When it enters the battlefield, it's a 3-mana 2/2 Bird Warrior that has all players draw a card when it enters the battlefield. Again, I'm not a fan on this. It's a Windrake, which is not something you want in EDH. That also gives your opponent's card advantage. So you don't want to be doing this. This is just real bad. Okay, next up we have Spellseeker. It's 2 and a blue. For when it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an instant or sorcery of CMC 2 or less. Reveal it, put it in your hand, and then shuffle your library. So obviously if you have like a 2-mana thing that like you care about, like, or like even if you just need to like pick up like a Doomblade or a Path to Exile, like this can get it for you. There's probably combos, but I'm not really a combo player, so I don't know. My first thought was like Brago, but my Brago deck isn't really running that many instants or sorceries. It wants permanents that it can blink, so that's not great. Maybe in Shu Yun, because I am running like a lot of cheap cards. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure about this card. I want to put it into somewhere, but obviously if you're playing any sort of like Spellsinger deck which cares about these sort of cards, but yeah, this is like solid. And it's also like a 3-mana counter, and it also leaves behind a body, so yeah. It is sorcery speed because it is a creature, but that's not the end of the world. And if you're in a wizard deck which like cares about these things, that's one thing I'm actually looking at for my is playing Izzet Wizards for my deck, where I want to be casting instant sorceries with building like Adelies. This might be interesting for that, but I'm not sure yet. Maybe. And then we have Spellweaver Duo, which is an assist that bounces something to its hand, but people aren't going to be wanting to help you with this because it doesn't answer a threat, so it's bad. Next we have ZENER Split's Judgment, and this is the friend or foe for blue, which is for each player, choose friend or foe. Each friend creates a token that's a copy of a creature they control. Each foe returns a creature they control to its owner's hand. This one I like, because it's like you get to copy, like, if you assume you just claim yourself friend and everyone else foe, you bounce one thing from all of them, and you get to make a copy of one of your things. And like clone effects are decent. Granted, it does require like stuff for you to do, but and you don't get to choose what creatures are balanced. So like I think it's fine, but it's nothing amazing. But it's passable. And that's it for this first part of this set review. Next part will be on Monday, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any thoughts, or like if you disagree with my assessment of any of the cards so far, let me know. I want to get better at this game just as much as all of you. So yeah, I'm really excited for this set. Both for like the limited format, because I really want to like play this in limited, because I personally love Two-Headed Giant. But just the really cool commander stuff in it. There's a lot of really cool reprints, which I'm not really going over right now. The most important one is Consulate Skygate, which is, I don't know if I've talked about this, but like if any card defines who I am as a Magic player, it's Consulate Skygate, which is an 0/4 Defender, which is an artifact creature from Kaladesh. But it's just an 0/4 Defender with reach for 2. I played so many of these in Kaladesh. It was just like the defining, like, Kaladesh was divided into 2 things. It was the Renegade Freighter decks, which were all about like heavy aggro, and then the Consulate Skygate, where you just was like, okay, let's dirtle forever. And I was so in the Consulate Skygate deck, and I'm just glad that Consulate Skygate's back because I love Consulate Skygate so much. So, yeah. But I'll talk to you all later then. And I'll see you Monday for the new episode. Alright. I'll talk to you all later, and yeah. Have fun watching the Pro Tour. Alright. And your story smile upon you.